Hello everyone, my name is Erica Imani. For those of you who don't know me, welcome or welcome back for those of you who do. I've decided to create a special corner called The Drizzling Dream, which is a safe place for people to talk about holistic health and domestic lifestyle within the community. I have a website that I'm working on that has not been publicized, and I have a small shop that I'm going to get into at the end of this video. But I specifically want to talk about the things that I've gone through in my life as a single mother the past decade, and share this with y'all who are going through similar situations and feel like you don't have anyone to talk to. Today we're going to talk about cyberbullying and domestic xenophobia, which is basically just racism as a single mother. 10 years ago, my daughter was taken away from me because I wanted to get away from domestic abuse. To give you all a little bit of information about me as a lover, I'm always the type of person to keep my space clean. I'm always loyal to my friends, and I go out of my way to make people feel welcome and comfortable. Upon getting to the office, after leaving a situation where I was physically assaulted and I was in a bad space with my family, there were stories I would hear from women with several kids who wasn't taking initiative to look for their children. Instead, they would tell me they were homeless and on drugs, and sadly some of them had gave up their rights to the system willingly or unwillingly because they didn't have a support system. Thankfully, my family went out of their way to help me raise mine. If it wasn't for them, we could have ended up in the foster care system, all because I was honest to this shelter about having marijuana in my system. I could have lied, living in a Republican state, but I disagree with the approach this system has for a medicinal herb proven to cure cancers and sicknesses, as someone who was postpartum a cesarean and took initiative to work. There are so many families separated because of this, specifically Black people. My grandfather was arrested for 20 years over marijuana, and there are still people incarcerated for such a life-changing medicine. I didn't fully have my daughter back with me until she was 6 years old. Fast forward, and I'm living with my family by the border of Mexico. Now, this is when the story changes course, because this is where I start to get impatient. You know, it's one thing when you learned your lesson and you're living in this society where they have rules set up and you have to follow the design of the rules. It's another thing when things go completely left. My daughter was getting invites at school. But as someone who witnessed old school parenting leading to more domestic violence growing up, I wanted to take initiative and join a gentle parenting group. I remember getting online and sharing what was going on with my daughter. First of all, she's borderline autistic and has problems with her speech, but she speaks as well as everyone else. Kids would start fights with her because she was different, and I would not want her to feel attacked. As a parent, if she was already trying to be obedient with the school, I wanted to go out of my way to make her feel comfortable. I joined a gentle parenting group, thinking that I would have a community to talk to about raising my children. Because at this point, I already have a second child, and I still don't have anyone in my life raising the children with me because, you know, I'm staying with family and they're helping me to take care of the children. Then when they leave for work, I'm the one that's looking for work, and I'm still at this point getting away from domestic violence. I joined a gentle parenting group thinking that I would have a community to talk to about raising my children. And as someone who wasn't going to a spiritual community at the time, I didn't understand that this world is designed to degrade you. I posted a brief paragraph about what my daughter was going through, and instead of being civil and supportive like the group was designed for, a lady got on my feed and made such a judgmental, hateful comment about the problem being me as a parent. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had my girlfriends tell me that when multiple people tell you that you're the problem, it's most likely you. But I'm the kind of person that can take constructive criticism and can look in the mirror and evaluate what I'm doing wrong so that I can do better. What's the point of telling someone something that they're doing wrong if they don't fix it? I answered back, of course, to explain that I go out of my way to make sure that she's in a safe place and comfortable at home. But she continued to send hate mail. Then that caused the bandwagon of hate mail overnight. I read as many comments as I could. Every comment was hateful. What was weird was that no one had actually posted in the group other than the advisor posted memes until that moment where they were roasting me instead of understanding the situation, which only showed the real community behind the screen. I ended up being blocked without getting a chance to talk at all. At that point, over 300 people had been messaging me and I was trying to get back to everyone, but I felt really defeated and I didn't know how to approach that situation. This system is not designed to work alongside you. And as a grown woman, that gets tiring when you're making sure to stay up for work, keeping the house clean, and discussing topics about your children when you have the best interest for them in mind, but others don't. There's this quote that goes, "Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Just walk beside me and be my friend." That same year, I would make sure to be on good terms with the school, just for the teachers to go out of their way and have me double sign documents on her behavior at the nearest cafe. When I brought this up to the office, they told me they weren't aware the teachers were doing this. I looked up if it was legal to do that, and I was informed that they can if they feel like the child is being neglected. Now, mind you, my daughter is spoiled and our house is always comfortable. I think that the fact that she is biracial has a big thing to do with me being black and her being mixed. She's black and Cuban with a mix of Caucasian and blue eyes. Now, we're in a Spanish community where there's already white privilege, and I hate to say that, but there is. And then I'm going up to the school to discuss things with her principal where things are fine, but then I have the teachers mocking me behind the window because she was just getting in trouble over getting in a fight. Mind you, she's only 8 years old at the time, so it shouldn't be that big of an issue, you know. Or if y'all are working as teachers, especially behavioral teachers, you should know this kind of behavior is stemmed from her psychosis and take initiative to be patient with her the way that I'm being patient with her at home, instead of laughing at her in front of the other teachers and then having me double sign documents without the principal's permission. When I brought this up to the office, they told me they weren't aware the teachers were doing this, which is weird because there were a couple of times where CPS was called. Cops would feel comfortable enough to tell me that I had one of the cleanest, prettiest houses on the block, and they could tell the children were taken care of because of how warm and inviting the vibes were when they would come into my home. Some of the houses that they would go into, it was apparent that the children weren't being taken care of. It became the final straw. CPS was on my side and they let the school know to stop calling for false reports because it was the conduct of the other children. Yet these parents weren't being talked to, even when I asked the principal and the behavioral teachers to talk to them individually or ask if we could have a group meeting as parents. This is where it all gets dark. Somehow there was a call made by the neighbors to the actual authorities one morning because I was raising my voice too loud. I understand that. It was over something as simple as the toys being all over the floor when I had just cleaned the night before. I remember the cop was going to dismiss the call and let us go until the investigator that was brought in decided that I had been getting after my daughter because of a mark that she had on the cheek. And I specifically remember seeing that same mark while she was getting off the bus one day and asking her how did she get it. I was incarcerated for 5 months by the border of Mexico. As soon as I went in, the main cop in the front was telling me to go back to my country. Mind you, I'm born and raised in Texas. My family is Cuban and Black. We immigrated and, went through slavery to get here. But I'm a 20th century American citizen. At this point, that shouldn't even be a debate. I don't have an accent or anything. I'm very Americanized. That was the first form of racism that I faced, and it was with the male cop. Sorry, I had to get my hair out of my face. I remember one of the first problems I had with a female cop. I told her that she should be more respectful toward the inmates because some of the women who were incarcerated were older and in there for silly charges, yet the cops would go out of their way to be malicious. This one cop had an attitude about everything and threw my clothes on the floor while I was washing, making washing even worse because I had to wash by hand. Walking in there with this specific female guard, she would tell me, "You're gonna have a great time here." Obviously, being malicious and sarcastic to get to me. I was moved around multiple times for getting in fights with inmates. Then suddenly all hell broke loose when a malicious lie was spread about me that caused me, as someone who is bipolar, to have schizophrenic episodes from the mental gaslight. That officer told me that no one was going to pray for me, and I really felt alone. When I would call my family and they would scoff in my face while I was in danger. There's so many other details that I will never speak of because of the level of darkness that I faced. But I know who I am, and I was there. Only a few officers were down to earth and calm enough to tell me that this is a cold, cruel world. Getting out, I was homeless with nowhere to go but the church. Still, the misinformation is slanderous, all because of racism and bullying. It amazes me how celebrities can deal with so much hate mail from hundreds of thousands of people. And I only dealt with hundreds, but how is one person supposed to stand up against this community when it's designed to be corrupt? Creating a safe place where we can talk openly about mental health, or where we are as women and men in a holistic space where the world is crumbling and falling apart, is so important to me. So thank you for listening. My name is Erica, and I am an activist for women's rights. I'm not going to go into exact details as to where I was emotionally and mentally at the end of last year because I was surrounded by so much hate. This is a safe corner where I want to build a community under my website, La Suite de la Negra, which is the suite of the Black woman, or the Black Suite, for women and men to come together to discuss about creating a gentle space for family with no judgment. La Suite de la Negra is a massage suite I have where I brand two smaller companies underneath. One is for our chocolates that will be hosted as Attica Iris Cacao, which is rainbow cacao, and that'll be talked about more in another video. Then there is our mental health and wellness, where I'll have custom made self-care spa baskets for women and men to enjoy. Then we'll also have a panic basket, which will be for mental health awareness. This brand is called Drizzling Dream. I'm also currently working on a memoir in the style of a comic book that might not be done until a couple of years because I'm taking initiative to make sure that everything is handwritten and drawn out. Freedom of speech is protected by the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Ratified in 1791, it prevents the government from making laws that abridge the freedom of expression, along with the guaranteeing freedom of religion, the press, the right to assemble, and the right to petition the government. The lifestyle I've always been taught to live is warm and comfortable. I've always had a certain amount of privilege in my family because my family was surrounded by the congregation or the church that I go to. My grandparents were elders and they had a big part in raising me, but sadly they both passed. So this is my silent protest.